This is great news for the Cincinnati Bengals, newcomers, and Joey B shining in practice. What the voice of the Bengals shared, though, that's got me so excited for this coming season. Hello, everyone. Welcome into Bengals Digest. I'm Michael Makin. Thank you so much for being with me here today as we are going to dive into Dan Hoard's 5 observations from Bengals practice this week. That includes 4 newcomers that I'm really excited to talk to you about, as well as the star of it all in Joe Burrow. But first, I'd like to wish all my fellow Cincinnatians a happy 513 day. For all of you who are going to be celebrating it, maybe you go down to the river and you enjoy yourself a can of Cincinnati chili. But I'd also like to shout out our subscribers, those of you who are always tuned into Bengals Digest. But if you're not, be sure to hit that button, ring that notification bell. It's completely free to do so. You can help us reach our goal of getting to 5,000 subscribers. Alrighty, folks, let's talk about him here. Dan Hoard, voice of the Bengals on 700 WLW. Maybe some of you like to listen to the Bengals games and hear Dan and Lap's voice. Maybe that's the way you do it, but I do also really like to follow Dan on X because I really enjoy what he shares about the Bengals practices and specifically the ones that he's got going on in the offseason. And he started off with talking about maybe the biggest Bengals offseason acquisition ever in Dexter Lawrence. Here's what Dan had to say. He said, "Force equals mass times acceleration. That's Newton's second law of motion and a great way to describe Dexter Lawrence. Sexy Dexy has stayed in town for voluntary workouts and practices." Zach Taylor said, quote, "He was shocked that he was there every day right after we traded for him. He just chose to jump right in and not miss a day. I think that just shows, well, I hate to speak for him, but the excitement that he has to be here." How awesome is that Dexter Lawrence has been in Cincinnati since the moment that we got him, and that he's been working out, that he's been making sure he's in shape, and he's looking like a bulldozer right now. If you saw the tweet, if you saw the video, he's just plowing down all the dummies that they've got on the practice field there by the bridge, and it's just awesome, man. I can't wait to see Dexter Lawrence on the field. He might be the player I'm most excited about seeing this year, but it also might just be Joe Burrow being healthy, right? But yeah, it's just got me super, super hype, and I can't wait to see Dexter Lawrence play for the Bengals this year. Now, before we get on to Joe Burrow, who is our next observation, if you or your child spent years growing up on social media and experienced serious mental health struggles, you should hear this. Recently, a jury ordered Meta and YouTube to pay millions for their role in designing and promoting addictive platforms. They knew their apps could contribute to anxiety, depression, and body image issues, but did not share those risks while prioritizing profits. The recent historic verdict underscores the consequences of those decisions. Now, Morgan & Morgan is stepping up to hold these platforms accountable for the harm they caused. Click the link in my bio to take a short quiz. You may be entitled to a potential recovery of over $1,000. All right, folks, let's get into Joe Burrow here and what Dan Hoard had to say about him. Hoard said, "Joe Burrow has been throwing in California with QB guru Jordan Palmer," I think we know that name there, "and arrived for the offseason program in exceptional condition. He looks like the best quarterback in the league," said Mitch Tinsley. "He comes out here to get better each and every day." So Joey B is in prime physical condition, and we know he's really just gotten better year over year, pretty much, right? Outside of maybe like 2023. If Joe's healthy, this is going to be a huge year for Joe Burrow. And of course, it's great to hear Mitch Tinsley saying those things. Dan Hoard, actually, his video associated with this was Joe throwing a deep ball to Mitch Tinsley. Hoping Tinsley, of course, plays a big role for the Bengals this year, too. Maybe he steps up, steals that wide receiver 3 spot. But Joe Burrow, as long as he's healthy, I mean, it's all on him, right? With the moves the Bengals have made this offseason, he's got to go out there, stay healthy, produce, and just be the Joe Burrow that we've seen over the past couple of years. And so that's got me super, super excited. But, excuse me there. But Joe Burrow, though, without a doubt, he is, he's going to have a good year as long as he stays healthy. The next one is very interesting because we're talking another newcomer here, except this one being a draft pick. And we're talking the Bengals' first rounder in Casius Howell. So let's get into Casius Howell and what Dan Hoard had to say. Hoard said Shamar played with Casius at Texas A&M and just raves about the second rounder. He's twitchy and his bend is crazy, said Stewart, and he has insane body control. His chest can literally touch the floor and he still won't fall. He's a freak athlete, one of one. I mean, it sure seems that way. It sure seems that way when you're watching the Casius Howell tape. I don't know if you guys have watched much of his highlights so far, but I use this picture because this is just a perfect example. His bend, it really is out of this world. I mean, you watch him get around some of these offensive tackles. The guy is flat. Like, he's flat to the ground on his side, and it's just so impressive. I mean, his athleticism is great, and he's a guy I've really, really come around on. He wasn't somebody that I thought the Bengals would draft or really, had talked about too much before the whole draft process, but I've really come around on it. I love the move. I think he's going to make a big difference, specifically on passing downs, but hopefully more than that. And Casius Howell, I expect to see a lot of him this year. What number? He went with 55, right? He went with a mean Vontaze Burfict number. So I think you're going to see that menace out there making plays, big plays for the Bengals this year. Now let's get into another newcomer, but this one back onto, one of the free agent guys that the Bengals went out and got, and one that Dan Hoard specifically was very, very excited about. Here's what Hoard had to say on Bryan Cook. He said he's biased, but getting to know him at UC, but the number one free agent I hoped the Bengals would sign was him, who is not only a sure tackler, but also a hard hitter. He's got the physicality you want from your safety, said Zach Taylor, and he's excited that he's here playing for us as in the Bengals. How awesome is it to think that we can have a safety on our team this year who is probably only going to miss a couple of tackles this year, and is a willing tackler and isn't going to just, throw their torso lightly at a guy going down the sideline and completely miss, cough, cough, Geno Stone, right? I mean, I can't wait to see a secondary that actually has a dude in it who is a proven talent, who is a higher pedigree player, who, has everything under his belt, Super Bowl championships, and I think that this secondary is going to be just so much better with Bryan Cook in it. I think we're in for a really, really good year out of him after getting that contract, getting to play in his hometown too. Another good thing to shout out there on 513 day. Onto the last guy. Let's talk about him here. We're talking Dante Myers. Hoard said he's one of the free agents that have been flying under the radar. He joined the Bengals in January after having 89 catches for over 1,400 yards in 19 games for Saskatchewan of the CFL. Myers drew interest from several teams before signing with Cincinnati. He said, I just feel like it made sense. The organization, the staff, the guys on the team, and the direction where the team is going, that's something that I want to be a part of, and I feel like I can contribute. So here's Dante Myers here. I'm sure some of you didn't even know who this was before I mentioned him because he was a CFL player, right? But Myers is still young, and Hoard posted a video of him doing like a cone drill sort of thing, and his feet looked quite impressive. I can't lie. Don't be surprised if he's the Mitch Tinsley of this preseason, because I think he's got a really good chance at being that. And so excited to see what Dante Myers brings to the table. My family has season tickets. I personally do not. So normally they give me the preseason games and I get to go and watch these guys. I'll probably still watch. I don't remember. Well, we don't know yet, but if we have one or two home preseason games this year, regardless, I'm probably going to be there. Maybe Dante Myers will have a crazy game. But I want to know in the comments, guys, of these 5 players, who are you most excited to see on the field this year? Is it Sexy Dexy? Is it Joey B? Is it Casius Howell, Bryan Cook, or Dante Myers? I think for me, personally, I'm going to have to go with Dexter Lawrence because of just the force multiplier that he is on the defensive line. But I'm excited to see every single one of these guys. Casius Howell's speed. Joe Burrow just being healthy and being awesome like he is. Bryan Cook being the safety we've needed since Jesse Bates left. And Dante Myers, I mean, maybe he flashes. Maybe he makes some plays. If he does, that's all just a big plus to me. Now, if you missed this last night, I know Adam was on it. He made a short about it, but the Bengals are going to be playing in Madrid, and I think that's pretty darn cool. It's going to be November 8th. It's going to be a 3:30 or 9:30 game versus the Falcons, and the Bengals aren't going to be losing a home game, which is really nice. And so, big pro, or just a great thing for that to be that way. And hopefully they get a bye coming out of this after the long traveling, but we don't know yet. But we got the schedule tomorrow at 8 o'clock, I believe, and we're going to be all over that. I believe this is going to be week 9 or week 10, something right around there. But we're going to be right on top of the schedule for you guys, me and Adam. And so be sure to stay tuned, be subscribed, ring the bell, all that stuff, because we're going to have you covered right here on Bengals Digest. This has been Michael Makin. Until next time.